Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 6 for key game picks. Now, don't want to get into too much detail what happened in week number 5, because I do want to get to my Week 6 picks, but quick thoughts from last week. Obviously, the theme last week was really injuries. And obviously, two of major key players that are out for the season, i.e., Odell Beckham Jr. with his ankle and J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans. Probably the one that hurts a lot has to be J.J. Watt because he's really one of the classiest NFL players in the league. But yet, J.J. Watt just can't seem to get a break, and he's really become a very not only just as a class of the NFL, very classy player now, and he's devoted a lot of hard work. I mean, if you go back to what he did with the relief funds for Hurricane Harvey, I mean, this guy really is an awesome, awesome person, not just outside the NFL, but really an awesome, generous person. And it's really, really devastating that he is out for the season. I mean, this guy's really one of the. He's a guy that can electrify a crowd in an NFL game, and it's just very, very heartbreaking to see him get hurt again and out again for the season. Obviously, another thing that comes to mind last week has to have been the Green Bay Packers Dallas Cowboys game. Probably this may be the game of the season right here. I mean, that game went back and forth, but obviously the lack of Lee defensively for the Cowboys really, really hurt them in the end because Aaron Rodgers has his knack for comebacks. Obviously, another comeback in the books, and they ended up beating the Cowboys. And obviously, the Cowboys now, if you're a Cowboys fan right now, obviously you guys are in trouble here. Defensive wise, you really are banged up. Offense wise, it's getting back to form, but without your defense, it's really, really hard, very difficult to stop the opposition. So yeah, I mean, if you come to think about it, yeah, that's really a surprise. The Cowboys at this moment are 2-3. I mean, I think this is their bye week. I think it could not have come in a good time for them as they need to really rest. And probably look at other surprises. The Raiders are also 2-3. But then again, the injury to Carr really is big, and the lack of defense on the Raiders really is becoming a problem for that team. And if you look at their schedule, it kind of eases up a little bit on their schedule before it gets to the more tougher part of the schedule. But really, I mean, if you're a Raiders fan, I mean, it could not have come at a bad time right now for the team. But other than that, I mean, I look at other stuff in the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of things that come to mind. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was one of them. After the comments, he said that he says he doesn't have it anymore. It's real. I mean, it's really hard to say because Roethlisberger is another great player, and I do have amounts of respect for him. And I mean, I do kind of sense that even he's even admitted himself that he's near the end of his career. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things went on in week number 5. Not much that went on, but obviously one other thing was the Trubisky era has begun in Chicago. I mean, well, he played decently, but in all honesty, the Bears' offense and defense really is a mess. I mean, they're doing what they can. I mean, they almost won that football game, but unfortunately, an interception late in the game ended up costing the Bears, and unfortunately, did not go well for Trubisky. Anyways, guys, that's enough chit chat from week number 5. Let's get into picks for week number 6, and let's begin with key game number 1. It is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Carolina Panthers. Panthers are a 3-point favorite in this one. I sort of agree, but don't be surprised if that number gets lower. In other words, it could go to 2 points by the end of the week. But if you come back and look at what happened between these two teams, both teams won their respective games. And obviously for I think it was more for Carolina if you look at Carolina. I mean, they had a lead against the Lions, and the Lions almost came back and beat them. But really, it's really difficult to say whether this Carolina team is finally back to their 2015 form when they went to the Super Bowl. I'm not really sure. I mean, their offensive line is average. Their defense, without some key players, I mean, it's really hard. It's been difficult for the Panthers despite their record. Philadelphia, Wentz and the offense are on a roll, and I can't really say if they are now become the team in the NFC East to beat. But let's just see now. I mean, this is going to be a very, very close at Thursday night game here, and I expect it to be. It should be a good one, actually. I think it's going to be a good game. But from the looks of it, though, it's a really tough pick here. This could go either way, and this is not a sure pick here. But I'm actually going to go with Carolina here. I mean, Carolina's offense really is getting back to form, even though their offensive line really is average. But obviously they are dealing with some injuries. But they are good at home. They're still a pretty good home team. And Philadelphia, I mean, sometimes it's kind of a roller coaster with this team so far. But it's not, like I said, this is not a sure pick here. And I'm going to go with the Panthers here. I think the Panthers will barely win this game. I expect this game to be very close and a good one on Thursday night. So I'm going to pick the Panthers in this one here. Panthers over the Eagles. Key game number 2. I never thought this game would be big here. And why do I say that? It's the New England Patriots against the New York Jets. The Jets, for some reason, out of miracle right now, are 3-2. Yes, they're 3-2. I mean, the prognosticators and everybody, all the NFL analysts said that this was going to be a terrible year for the Jets, but yet they are somehow making it a season here. They're actually on a roll. But I think because this is kind of an easy pick here, you're running into the Patriots here. Now, I know a lot of you are saying the Patriots defense is still a mess and all that, but keep in mind, their offense is still good. And they will get Gronkowski back for this game, despite the fact that he didn't play last week against the Buccaneers. And they somehow, despite a lot of miscues in that game last week, they were still able to beat the Buccaneers despite them missing field goals. The Jets, I don't buy them as a contender. This is why this is a very easy pick here. Patriots are a 9.5-point favorite, and I agree with that. And you got to go with New England here. New England's offense will be too much for the Jets defense to handle. I mean, they had a lot of trouble against the Browns last week out of all teams. And I can see this game being a blowout here, despite even if Green Bay has New England Patriots having a bad defense here. So, yeah, this is an easy pick here. You got to go with the New England Patriots. Obviously, first place is on the line here in the AFC East. I never thought I'd say that with the Jets. But, yes, it is. And Buffalo's on their bye week, so New England will actually squeak up in this one here. They'll go back to first place here, despite with Buffalo's bye week. And that's why you got to go with the Patriots here. Patriots over the Jets. Key game number 3, as I made an error saying the word Packers here, I'm still going to talk about the Green Bay Packers here, and this is going to be one of them here. The Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Packers are a 3.5-point favorite, and I agree with that. Green Bay's offense is on track. They're really clicking here. And despite Minnesota barely beating the Bears last week, Minnesota's got a ton of problems on both sides of the ball. I mean, they had to change their quarterback of all things here. Bradford is not 100% healthy. That's obvious. Keenan had to come in to play in that game. And obviously right now, for Minnesota's sake here, this could not have come at a bad time, especially you have a home game against a division rival here. And obviously first place in the NFC North division is also on the line here. But this is another easy pick here. You got to go with the Green Bay Packers here. Green Bay's offense is going to be too much for Minnesota to handle. And offense-wise here, with Green Bay's defense finally clicking, even though their last 5 games really didn't seem all that good defensive-wise, but this time around, both offense and defense for Green Bay is really clicking. Aaron Rodgers is finding his targets with Nelson, finding his open man with Nelson, and it's really, really, their offense is just clicking big time here. And you got to go with the Packers here. I expect the Packers to win this game here. Packers over the Vikings. And finally, key game number 4, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I know this is the 3rd week in a row that I'm talking about the Chiefs here. I'm still not going to buy that that they are the team to beat in the AFC conference, despite their playoff disappointments here. See, if you look at the season right now, they technically, by statistical standards, they are the team to beat in the AFC. And Pittsburgh right now, they got a ton of problems on offense and on defense. Really, they just having too many issues. Roethlisberger said in the post game last week, after saying that he doesn't have it anymore after they had a terrible game last week. It is really, really something that never expected. I didn't think the Pittsburgh Steelers would be in this much trouble right now if they're having lack of confidence here. I know a lot of you thinking this might be a trap game here. I don't see this game as a trap game. I think Pittsburgh's distraction with their problems on both sides of the ball, I think, are an issue. And the Chiefs are playing at a very high level right now. They're still undefeated. And I'm going to stick with the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs' offense is just that good. They are that good. And Hunt is really making a case to be MVP. Well, more likely he'll be Rookie of the Year. But don't be surprised if he makes this case for MVP. Alex Smith is on a roll. He's playing at a much higher level than he has been in years, even with when he was with the 49ers. But really right now, their offense is clicking, and it's really, really tough. It's going to be tough for Pittsburgh's defense to handle. They got so much distraction right now on both sides of the ball. This is why you got to go with the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs will win probably by maybe 10 points or something, because really Pittsburgh's got a ton of problems, and it's going to continue here. Chiefs over the Steelers. All right, that wraps up my picks for week number 6. For all of my week 6 picks, go to the sportblog.blogspot.com. All my picks will be there, and they should be up by Wednesday. And until then, everybody, I will see you all next week when I talk about my picks for week 7. And until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.